Okay, hey everybody, welcome to this LibChat training. In this video, we're going to be focusing on the Zoom web conferencing tools specifically within LibChat. So a couple things to note just right off the bat. They do give you sort of a limited set of admin tools when you are using Zoom directly through LibChat. So just be aware of that it might look a little bit differently than if you're using Zoom using your regular account. So a couple things we're going to talk about today. We're just going to cover really quickly how to initiate a session through LibChat. We're going to talk a little bit about the audio and video controls. Then we're going to jump into kind of the big one here, which is screen sharing and how to screen share and sort of what the difference is between using different types of windows. And then we're going to touch on recording sessions just really briefly. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Let me go ahead and pull this window in here so you can see that I have a test chat from a patron here requesting some help. So in order to start a Zoom session, what you want to do is in this chat window down here at the bottom, we have this request screen share button. So I'm going to go ahead and click request screen share. And it's going to pop a system message into the chat that is going to ask you to launch a Zoom session. And just so you know, let me go ahead and pull this other window over here in so you can see what the patron sees. So on their end, they had asked for some help. They have a link on here to join the screen sharing session. So they can click that link and jump straight into the Zoom session. So let me pull that window back out here. I'm going to go ahead and launch. Click that button. It should open up a new tab and ask us to open zoom.us. And this should pop you into your Zoom account. Okay, so we get dropped into our Zoom session and you can see, I'm going to pull this window back over again. You can see right here, let me move this window out of the way, that the patron is notified when the screen sharing session has started. So they can click join to jump into it. I'm not going to do that just yet, but we're going to bounce back here to Zoom and it's going to ask us to choose one of the audio conference options. 99.9% of the time, you most likely are going to just join using your computer audio. So that's using the microphone that is connected to your computer or using an external microphone that you have connected. I have an external microphone connected right now. We'll talk a little bit about those settings and those options in just a second. So I'm going to click join with computer audio. And you'll notice down here at the bottom left-hand corner, this little microphone icon is flashing green because it is currently picking up the signal from my microphone. So you can see that your microphone is working here. If I was to click this button, we can see that it muted my microphone. So if for whatever reason you need to mute your session, you can click that button there. Another thing to note, I want to click on this little menu option here. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring up some options for my inputs and outputs. So here it says select a microphone. So I can choose one. This one is currently selecting my external USB audio interface. But if I was to click this button, it would switch from using my external microphone to using the microphone on my actual laptop. You may only have one option here. So when you start a Zoom session, just double check, click that little menu to see what options you have. Most likely you'll have one, which is kind of your default built in. The other thing that we can note here is it says select a speaker. So this is our audio output. This is where the audio from our session is going to come out. So it might come out of your regular laptop speakers or your regular computer speakers. This is my secondary monitor here. This is my actual audio interface. So you might have a couple different options here. Go ahead and select whatever the default one is. If you click same as system, whatever your computer is using, that's what Zoom will use. It'll just use the same thing. So most likely you can just leave these settings as default and they should be okay. If you are ever unsure about whether it's working or not, we can always click this test speaker and microphone button and it should play a ringtone for you. And you can say yes or no, you hear it. And then when you speak, it will test your microphone and play that back for you. Okay, so that's how you can check your audio input and output. The second thing to check for is down here, we also have a button for your video. By default, Zoom is going to drop you into a session with your video turned off. And just so you know, it's also going to do that for the patron as well, or the student who is joining this session. So you can click this button to start video. We'll go ahead and turn my video on. And you can see, here I am. Hello. You can turn it off. There we go. And this menu option here is going to ask you the same way we did with the microphone. It's going to give you the options for what cameras you have available. In this case, I only have the camera on my laptop available. So that's why I only have this one option. You can also change your virtual backgrounds here, and you can filter as well. So those are your audio and video options right here. So that's how you will manage those two things. Another thing I want to point out is you'll have this security button here. If you click on this, the most important one here is enable waiting room. So when you start this session, if you click enable waiting room, essentially when the student jumps into the room, it's going to send you a message to confirm before letting them in. If you don't turn that on, they'll just automatically pop in. So that's essentially all that that's doing right there. Okay, so now let's talk about the big one, screen sharing. This is a really important one, and it can be a little bit confusing at first, but I assure you it is relatively straightforward once you've done it a couple times. So here we have this big green button for screen share. I'm going to go ahead and click this button, and it's going to open up a second window for me. And in this window, it is going to show me my desktops. It's also going to show me any other application windows I have available. So there's two basic types of things that you can share. Number one, you can share your desktop. So if I click desktop 1 and click share, let's go click the share button here. Essentially now you can see this green ring around my screen. So it's going to show me what the patron or the student can see. So it says you are screen sharing. Anything on this page, they will be able to see. So if I drag this window over, they'll be able to see that. If I drag a separate window over like this, they'll be able to see this. So anything that appears on this screen, they will see. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click stop share. And the difference between sharing a desktop and an application window is essentially, if I click share screen, I have a couple of application windows here. So if I just want them to see what is on this instance of Google Chrome, I'm going to highlight that one. I'm going to click share. Now you can see this green ring around this particular Google Chrome window. So anything I open up in here, they're going to be able to see. Okay. So we can open this up. We can go to the Ohlone Library homepage, let that load, and then we can walk them through whatever we need to walk them through here. If I was to take another window and drag and drop it on top of this, they will not see this. The only thing they're going to see is the thing that is outlined in green. So we're specifically looking at this window. So if I move this window, you can see that little green ring follows it. So we're sharing this specific application window. So you may have multiple application windows open, but you're only sharing that one. So I'm going to click stop share. We're going to click share screen one more time. And now we can see I have two separate desktops. So I can share my second monitor here if I wanted to, and they can see everything that shows up on that monitor. I can share just this preview window here where I have a flyer that I made. We can share just my Outlook if we wanted them to see that. We can share just my notes. So anything that you select, this is what they're going to see. So these are my application windows. So I have a bunch of different windows for applications here. You can see I have a Word document down here. Or I can share my desktop. Now it might say desktop, it might say screen, depending on whether you're using Mac or Windows. But either way, that is the difference between sharing a desktop, where they'll see everything that you put on that desktop, and sharing an application window, where they will see only that application window. And if you are ever unsure what you are sharing, look for this big green ring. So if the green ring is around the entire screen, you're sharing the entire screen. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that share now. Okay, there may be an instance where you might want to record this session for playback. There are no hard and fast rules as to how you are supposed to do this, but essentially you would want to check with the student that is on the call first, whether it would be okay for you to record it, just get their consent first. And all you have to do is click this record button, and you should hear an audio message that will let you know that the session is being recorded. When you click stop recording, it will convert the video to an MP4 file, which you can then share with the patron. And one last thing I wanted to note here is if for whatever reason you wanted multiple people to join this session, you can either click this invite others down here, or if you're in the session and there's a couple people talking and you have other videos up, this little information pane up here, if I click on this meeting info, this is the Zoom link for this particular session. So if I click copy link and I paste that into an email and send it off to somebody, they'll be able to join the meeting. Alternatively, if they already have Zoom open, you can send them this meeting ID number and they can put that in. And you'll notice that this meeting ID is also the same number that is in this invite link. So that's how you can share the session to add multiple people to it. Okay, I hope that gets you started. Practice trying your different screen sharing options. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll check in with you guys later. All right, have a good one.